Hi! So we are finally making a video we have talked about making for a long time, which is our homemade cat food recipe. We have been making this for over 6 years, ever since our cat was diagnosed with diabetes, and we feel it makes a big difference in their health. So we wanted to be able to share it with other people. We've had people ask about it. Here, if you want to see what it looks like, three of them. And I'm also going to have a different video which will go over some of the changes we've made to the recipe over time. The way we make it now is not exactly as we used to make it, and just things to know before you make the food if you do intend to actually make it. But in this video we can get right into it. Let's begin with the ingredients and tools you'll need.
You will need 2 whole chickens, if possible with no added broth, hormones, salt, etc. A package of gizzards and or hearts. Sometimes you get a mix of gizzards and hearts, and this is ideal. Sometimes they are separated, that's fine, and sometimes you only find one, chicken hearts or gizzards, that's okay too. Chicken liver. 1 tub of liver is ideal. We removed this from our recipe when one of our cats was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism because liver is high in iodine, but you can adjust ingredients to your cat's health needs. It does have benefits for many cats. 1 cup of zucchini shredded. This will be 1 large or 2 medium-sized zucchini. 1 cup carrot shredded, 2 to 4 full-size carrots. A standard 13.5 ounce can of pumpkin. Be sure it's pumpkin puree and not pumpkin pie puree, which contains added sugar, and water. To make the food, you'll also ideally want a large stock pot, around 1.5 gallons at least, a large cutting board, a large baking sheet, a sharp chef's knife, tongs, containers for your cat's food, food prep gloves including safety gloves, paper towels, a large mixing bowl, a smaller pot for broth transfer, and a sieve. So let's get into cooking the food now. Begin by preparing your workstation and make sure it is clean. Get your defrosted chicken out. If you get it frozen, you will need to give it a couple days to defrost. Place the chicken on a baking sheet and remove any giblets that would be included. Clean your hands and then put on your gloves. We use 1 thick protective glove with plastic over it, and a knife hand just with plastic. Next, break down the chickens. Remove the thighs and set aside. Separate the thigh from the leg of the joint. You may need to dislocate the joint to cut through. Avoid cutting through the bone. Then remove the wings and set aside. Separate the wing at each joint and throw away the wing tip. Remove the skin. You can do this at whichever time is easiest for you, and set aside. Make a cut along the center breastbone on each side and remove the breast. You can remove the tenderloin from the center by hand without a knife. Separate the rib cage from the lower body. After you've done 1 chicken, repeat with a second. Now take the skin that we set aside and cut it into smaller pieces, about 1 to 2 inch squares. This does not need to be exact. Now it's time to get the heat going on your large pot. We used to cook it inside, but the smell can get very overwhelming and it usually gives us both headaches. So we got a small burner to cook with outside. It does take a little longer this way, but it is worth it for us. Set it to a low to medium heat. Add the skin to the pot and render the fat out. You will want to stir it occasionally. It will take about 15 to 45 minutes for the skin to turn crispy and be fully rendered. While the skin is rendering, take this opportunity to clean your workspace of raw chicken. Once rendered, remove the crispy skin and enjoy delicious, albeit unhealthy snack if you eat meat and like that. The skin is too fatty for your cat and will become very chewy and inedible if it goes back into the overall cat food. Do not drain the fat. It is important that the food has some fat and will prevent the meat from sticking to the bottom of the pot. Add the chicken to the pot, starting with the dark meat first, then white meat, then liver, hearts, gizzards, and other giblets, and finally the remaining rib cages and bones. On the day we filmed this, unfortunately our burner died, so we did have to move our pot inside. The original burner cost us about $10 or $15 at Fred Meyer, but we ended up replacing it with one that was around $20 from Walmart, and that's been going fine so far. We did have the other one for a while though. Finally, add enough water to cover all the meat. This is typically around 3 cups of water for us. Allow the chicken to simmer for around an hour and a half, then turn off the heat and allow it to sit for another hour. The hour soak off the heat allows for the meat to relax and makes it much easier to remove from the bone and shred. Part 2. Remove the bony parts and set aside. Start by chopping the hearts and gizzards first. When still warm, these are easy to mince but quickly become difficult to cut. Set them into the bowl. Chop the liver if you use them, but like I said, we don't use these anymore on account of one of our cats having hyperthyroidism and it being high in iodine. Continue to work your way through each piece in the pot, carefully separating the meat from the bones and shredding or mincing the meat before placing in the bowl. Put on gloves again. Now you will take the ribcage and hip bones and carefully pull off the meat. You will put the meat in the bowl and discard the bones. You can give the cats a little snack at this point if you want. They'll probably want it and they'll be smelling it. Be careful at this stage, as this is where you're most likely to accidentally add bones to your mix. But don't skip this either, as there's a lot of meat. Don't waste anything. Pour the remaining liquid through a sieve into a different pot. This will catch anything you might have missed. Clean the first pot and then add the broth back in. Clean the second pot and grab your veggies. First, add a can of pumpkin. After washing the zucchini and carrots, shred them and add them to the broth. Then add in all the meat you collected. Part 3. Place the pot back on the heat and allow it to simmer. The goal here is to reduce the liquid so it is no longer soupy but still moist. This will probably take at least an hour. It is best to go with low heat and stir occasionally so you don't burn the bottom. Since it will just cook for a while, this can be a good time to clean up the kitchen. Once it is done, allow it to cool. By this time it may be dark and cooler outside depending on where you are, so you can just set it outside if you have the option. Once it is cool enough, you can put it into containers. Depending on the batch, we can fill between 6 and 8 containers, typically 7. Generally, we leave one container in the fridge and put the rest in the freezer. Once we're halfway through one container, we bring out another from the freezer and defrost it. Whenever we feed the cats, we take out a portion we want for them. Note that we do feed the cats multiple times per day and chop through it each time to make sure there are no bones. And we serve, and the kitties enjoy. Let us know if you try this and what you think and what your cats think.
I hope this video was helpful. Let me know if you end up trying it and if your cats like it and if you notice any health benefits or if you make any modifications, etc. Comment below and subscribe if you want to see more content from us. Some of it might be cat related, some of it might not, but I will see you